This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Welcome to the AIPIS show for accredited income property investment specialists and those who aspire to be. If you're a real estate, mortgage, or financial professional, this is the place for you. We'll explore innovative investment analysis, sales, marketing, and income-generating strategies for the most historically proven wealth creator, income property. Learn from the experts as they show you how to build a better business and a better life.
Part 2 of our conversation about due diligence for real estate investors so that you do not get burned and you take care of business. We're going to play the second part of that conversation today, and that was of course was with Adam yesterday, and I've got Adam here with me. Adam, what should we add to that rather long due diligence conversation we had? I think we should talk a little bit about insurance, right?
Absolutely. So this is one thing that the numbers are going to be a little different depending on what company you go through, but I was actually surprised whenever we started this about how cheap, and you'll see some numbers on the pro forma that look low, but surprisingly aren't whenever you start pricing around insurance for investment companies. Now, we have one company that we've worked with for years that will offer you a quote on investment properties around the country, and there's one spot you can go to. You don't have to find a local agent to do that. So we would highly recommend getting a quote from them. But then also, go online, look at your State Farms, your Allstates, any of the big companies out there, and just find a local agent and call them up and say, hey, I'm wanting to get insurance on this house. Give me a quote. Yeah. And they'll call you back real quick or get an answer to you real quick because they want your business. Yep. And, I've found that they've always been a little bit pricier for me, but you never know.
Not always.
They're constantly competing.
Yeah, it really does vary. It really does vary. Now, we talk a lot in my 10 Commandments of Successful Investing. One of those is thou shalt diversify. And we want you to diversify into 3 to 5 markets, be it at least 3 markets, not more than 5. So you'll probably only have to do this 3 times, okay? Mm-hmm. Because you'll be in 3 markets, and if you buy, say, 3 or 4 properties in each of those markets, maybe you don't buy them all at the same time, but you'll already have an established relationship. You can just shoot them an email, say, hey, I'm looking at this property at 123 Elm Street, and can you give me a quote on the insurance for it? And you'll already have some established relationships there. So you'll have maybe one outlet for national insurance opportunities. And be careful, because there was one company we profiled before that we were very unhappy with. We had many complaints about them on the show. So talk to the investment counselors. And they did do nationwide insurance. And sadly, that one, we just got too many complaints on it. So we did the opposite of recommending them. We're unrecommending them. So be careful. And then you'll have a couple of local contacts. And so you can do this much more easily on property number 2, number 3, number 4 in that same marketplace. Much easier. What else
and also,
about insurance?
as you go along, kind of continuing your due diligence, don't forget every couple of years, just contact the other companies again and say, hey, what are you offering? And just see, you can get some quotes from them and take them back to your current insurance agent. And, maybe you say, hey, I'm getting lower rates from other places.
Can you be more competitive?
You need to be more competitive and see if they're willing to negotiate with you. So don't just take their first quote and just use that forever. You can always double check on it, triple check on it down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, Adam, why don't we get into that conversation from yesterday? And remember, insurance is part of it. But here is part 2 of our due diligence discussion.
The other thing we wanted to talk about with home inspection is outside of other people, there's a wonderful company that Jason loves with all of his heart, and that's Google. And you can go on Google Street View and Google Earth.
By the way, Those greedy bastards at Google invading everybody's privacy. They just became $1 trillion company. So they are now one of the three, Amazon, Google, and Apple, sometimes moving in and out of that $1 trillion market cap, but they just made it.
So, yeah, so you can hop on those and look at the properties around yours, look at the businesses that are around with Google Earth and Google Satellite, and just get a general idea for the neighborhood, and at least what the surrounding houses look like within the last couple months or year, however long it's been since Google Street View has been by the area. But that's just an outside source that you can get that'll, because your home inspection isn't going to say your home looks great, the one next to it is falling down and terrible.
Right.
They're not going to mention that. So
right.
Look at the surrounding areas and make sure that you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, so more on that, not just Google Street View, but do remember something with Google Street View. You can go down the street. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't use it that way or even know you can do that. Just like you're in a car, you can move your mouse and go down the street, up and down it, rather than just looking around in a circle. So know that. And also use Google Earth and look at the satellite images, look down on the property from above, and see what's around it. Get a feel of it. Are there railroad tracks? Is it backing up to a freeway? Is it going to be impacted by noise? Is there a big industrial site, a prison, a landfill, a sewage treatment plant? These kinds of things. You just want to know what's around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's quick and easy. I mean, that's 5 minutes and you're done there.
Right. And this is the great thing about technology. It's pretty darn easy nowadays to be a remote investor. In the old days, this was really tough. You didn't have all this information at the tip of your fingertips. Yeah.
All right. So I think that's all we have on home inspectors and home inspections. So let's move on to, you want to move on to rent or property management?
I think we should talk about rent.
Okay.
In other words, rental values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's two places we've already mentioned before, and that's your MLS and Zillow again. Your MLS, you can just sort it by homes for rent instead of for sale, and you can get a general idea for how much is this renting. Even if it's not the same size, you can look around and see what's the rent per square foot, and then kind of work off of that. Or you can go on Zillow and see their estimated rent, or even homes that are for rent on Zillow. Or you can go to Craigslist even and look and see if there are any people trying to rent their homes out on Craigslist for, and how much they're asking for it. You won't necessarily
and
get
you can also go to, go ahead.
You're not necessarily
you can go to fix this in the editing. We're talking over each other. Okay, I'll go first. Okay. Yeah. You can also go to sites like Rent-A-Meter or Rent Range, and again, these sites definitely have their problems. Okay, they're computer-generated opinions of rental values, and there's just a lot more detail to it than that. But again, compared to what, right? They're better than what we had before, which was nothing. So it's just another source. You got to use your own mind to reason through all of this, and that's why computers have not yet replaced humans. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you also, as you know, it won't show you how much people actually got for their rent, based on Zillow or the MLS or anything like that. You'll see what they're asking. But you can get a general feel. If your pro forma says it'll rent for $1,000, but all you're seeing around the neighborhood are $600 and $700 rents, then maybe you want to adjust your expectations accordingly and see if the deal still makes sense. Mm-hmm. So the other thing you can do is you can Google property management companies around the area and just call them and say, hey, if I had a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot house in this general area, how much do you think it could rent for? And a lot of them will help you out and give you a range that they think it could rent for, and you can get the idea that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's good. And remember, when you talk to property managers, which we recommend, of course, talk to the property manager that we might refer you to, but also talk to some others and look at the whole marketplace. Just remember, they have conflicting motivations. Many of them have real estate companies or they sell real estate themselves. And so they will be motivated to maybe talk you out of a deal so they can sell you another deal they have. Just understand that, it's capitalism. Everybody's looking out for themselves. So you take everything with a grain of salt, every piece of advice. But as you talk to people, you can kind of sort out the truth from fiction, most of the time.
Yeah, you get enough numbers, you can calculate a midpoint.
Yeah.
So all data, all the joys of data.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And speaking of property management, that's, I believe, the last thing we want to touch on today. And the first place you can go is the property management company that we're working with in that market. You can talk with them, see if there's somebody you're interested in. They are going to be the management fee that you'll see in the pro forma. So whatever that company charges is what you're going to see there. So the other thing you can do, though, is you can just hop on Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo, whatever you use, and search for property management companies in the area, call around, interview them. You are not tied to any one particular management company for most of our properties. Some of the new construction you are for, I believe it's around 2 years, but 98% of our properties are not tied to any one particular property management company. Or you can do what Jason says and self-manage, hybrid manage, and go about it on your own. Take a shot that way.
And for more details on that, of course, I'm a big proponent of it because we've had some good success stories with it, and you definitely should consider that option. Go to jasonhartman.com, use the search engine there, type in self-management. We have just a massive amount of content on that subject. Lots of good lessons there, so check them out. Adam, are we finished with this topic?
Well, we only have one more thing to discuss, and that is a property.
That's what I wanted to say. So here's a real life example. Okay,
a real life example. This one just got put in our system the other day. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath in Merrillville, Indiana, and they are asking $120,000 to get a property that is expected to rent for $1,250. So it meets the 1% RV. And with all of the assumptions put in, which is an 8% vacancy, 10% management, and 8% maintenance, you are looking at a cash flow of $205 for a cash-on-cash return of 7% and a total return.
Adam, you gotta say a projected.
Yeah, a projected cash-on-cash return.
This is what the pro forma says. Sometimes it doesn't work out that well. Sometimes it actually works out better. So both things happen.
Yeah. And a projected total return on investment of 30%.
Yeah. And so that's all in. Again, if you think, oh, that's crazy, 30%, you obviously are new to the show, but income property, multi-dimensional asset class, and you can earn those kind of returns. Millions of investors have over the years, just make sure you understand how that's calculated, and you're getting return on investment from multiple sources with a property. That's one of the beautiful things of it. So that's the overall projected return. And was that exactly 30%, Adam?
According to the pro forma, yeah, they're expecting right at 30%.
Okay. How do the taxes and insurance look on that deal? Since this show's about due diligence, do those look reasonable when you're eyeballing them, or do they look understated?
Yeah, the property taxes are estimated at $2,400 a year, so that's definitely in line with what we've seen in other markets, or it's even a little on the high side compared to some of our other markets.
We always tell them to estimate high, but hey, they're salespeople, so they don't listen a lot of times, these local market specialists.
Well, I found a lot of them, they're the couple that we've bought, the 5 or 6 we've bought, have been pretty much dead on property tax wise. And insurance, it has at $60 a month, which seems really low, but whenever you start talking to some of the insurance companies out there, that is a reasonable amount for a $120,000 house.
Okay. So again, this deal, it's $120,000, and what's the projected rent?
$1,250.
Okay, so that's more than the 1% rent to value ratio. That's fantastic, actually. And what's the square footage of that one?
This one's a pricey per square foot one. It's 819 square feet, so it's 146 per square foot.
Oh, that's small. That must be in like a really charming neighborhood or something. That's pretty good. That's I mean, over $1 a square foot. And by the way, folks, this is just crazy. The institutional apartments do a good job of really, really squeezing the rent out of people. Many times you'll see single family homes with a yard that are renting for $1 or $1.25 a square foot. And there'll be an institutional apartment building where everybody's stacked in like rats in cages, super high density, no yards. And they're getting $2, $2.50, even $3 a square foot sometimes for the rent. And that's a per month number, by the way. And it's amazing to me that there's always been this disconnect where the single family homes from private owners are always such a better value than the institutional landlords for the tenants. And that's one of the things landlords, I think we got to get our act together on that. We've got to package our properties well. We've got to do what a lot of the institutional landlords do. We should be charging pet rent. We should be, we should be demanding more for our properties. Our properties are undervalued in the rental market, and that's just an odd thing. Now, I think one thing is really going to help us on this, and I don't think it's anything we're going to do. I think it's these big institutional players in the single-family home marketplace, like Invitation Homes, that owns just a massive number of single-family home rental properties. And they are really, really trying to squeeze the numbers on those properties. And I think that will benefit us in the marketplace ultimately, because everything's by comparison. And we should actually hope that these institutional landlord players grow in size and there's more of them in the marketplace, because I think that will actually benefit us as they really, really learn how to really demand more and have more pricing power in the marketplace. I think that'll be good for us as individual small investors. So, yeah, good thing. All right, Adam. Hey, thanks for sharing some thoughts on this topic with us today. Everybody, do your due diligence and happy investing. Go to jasonhartman.com for more. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel and rate and like our podcast videos. One great thing about our YouTube channel is you can comment on things, ask questions. We are very diligent about engaging and answering your questions and comments there on the YouTube channel. Happy investing.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.